So now we're on to season 13. All right, we've got Something Narwhal This Way Comes, SpongeBob's Road to Christmas, Goofy Scoopers, Pat the Dog, Potato Puff, Big Bad Bubble Bass, the Patrick Star Fan Favorite Special, what the hell, Food, PBBFT, Upturn Girls, Say Aw, Captain Pipsqueak, Plain to See. Yeah, so I didn't even read the description. I haven't watched any of the episodes. I've just read off the titles, and I can tell I sure as hell do not want to watch the season at all. And as you may or may not know, I have to pay for it. That's why it says buy HD $2.99, and I am not going to pay for it. It's not on Paramount Plus for some reason. It's only on Amazon Prime. There's probably still more episodes to come, but I'm still not watching them. So yeah, I actually made a reaction video of the first episode, Lockdown for Love, and whatever the other episode was called, but it got blocked by Viacom, so no one can watch it unless you live in Canada, but probably none of my viewers are from Canada. They're probably from the US, so, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I already watched the second episode, actually, and those kind of sucked, so yeah, 1 out of 10, that's the score. It's better than season 12, but it's still garbage. So, score of season 13. Alright, next season is season 14. Basically, Camp Coral. Camp Coral is season 14 in my eyes, so that's what I'm calling it. So, season 14 is pretty much the worst spin-off show ever made. It's literally just a 0 out of 10 for me. There's not even one decent episode like how I felt with season 12. Some season 12 episodes were, okay-ish. They weren't all that good, though. But, yeah, there's, not one even kind of decent episode I found in Cape Coral. It's just all garbage. There's a lot of stuff I can say about this show, like the terrible animation, the writing, and directing. The thing that really gets me about this show is the fact that it takes place in a summer camp. When I first heard that this was being announced, I actually thought, and everyone else probably thought, that having it taking place in a summer camp is about the weirdest thing anyone could come up with. Why? What does that have to do with SpongeBob? Since it's a prequel, have we heard anything in the early seasons about Squidward, Mr. Krabs, Patrick, and SpongeBob all in the same camp together? You know what? We haven't. Why are we making a show about this? From the get-go, when this show was just even announced, everyone realized the huge plot holes in the show. The huge one is the plot hole of Sandy meeting SpongeBob at summer camp, apparently, even when they first met in the 3rd episode of season 1. Now, for all of those who like Camp Coral for some reason, you're probably wanting to scream at me right now, just knowing the modern SpongeBob fanbase. You're probably typing in the comment section with all caps right now, completely slamming me about that one episode in Kitchen Sponge where it explains how Sandy met SpongeBob even when they both met in season 1. So, look, I'll get to that. So, Nickelodeon pretty much realized that they screwed up, so they came up with a plan where the Sandy from Camp Coral is actually a clone from the actual Sandy from the future. The actual Sandy from the future sent her clone back in time to prevent the Chum Bucket from ever being created by not allowing Plankton to steal the secret formula when SpongeBob created it back in camp. So Sandy's clone intervenes in Plankton's plans and destroys the secret formula. I'm not even kidding. Yeah, that's their best response to their huge plot hole that everyone's talking about. And it turns out their little plot hole filler actually makes their plot hole bigger. So look, Sandy's traveling back in time to prevent Plankton from stealing the secret formula, right? The thing is, Mr. Krabs and Plankton created the secret formula when they were in middle school. That's when the two split apart and started to make their own restaurant shortly after that. That's all explained in Friend or Foe. So why didn't Sandy travel back in time to when they were in middle school to stop Plankton from stealing the secret formula? That's what happened in the episode. I'm pretty sure when Mr. Krabs and Plankton were in middle school creating new recipes, that was before they went to Camp Coral, because Mr. Krabs is some random camp counselor all of a sudden and has a 1-year-old daughter. So if that one Friend or Foe episode took place before Plankton and Mr. Krabs were at camp, number one, why did they just randomly become camp counselors all of a sudden? And number two, if this show takes place a little after Friend or Foe, why didn't Mr. Krabs just use his secret recipe he and Plankton created to serve all of the campers? Instead, the food they serve at camp is just nasty slop. Then all of a sudden, SpongeBob is the one that makes the real Krabby Patty secret formula? It doesn't make any sense. Sandy should have traveled back in time to when Mr. Krabs and Plankton created the secret formula in middle school, not Camp Coral. Now that I'm thinking about it though, maybe Nickelodeon and Paramount Plus just don't count their Friend or Fro episode canon. Which that statement is probably true. They even deleted an episode from season 3 on Paramount Plus apparently. Look, I'm not even a SpongeBob theorizer guy, and yet the first second I watch this show, I spot like 10,000 plot holes. I bet the best way Nickelodeon and Paramount could cover this up is probably having something stupid like Camp Coral is actually a show that takes place in an alternate universe of SpongeBob, and apparently there's going to be some dumb episode where Sandy creates a portal for all the SpongeBob characters to go through so they can visit their other universe, quote-unquote, which is going to be the original SpongeBob universe. Then they're probably going to meet their other versions of themselves and some stupid crap like that, all to just cover up their huge plot holes everyone's talking about. Also, another plot hole in Camp Coral is Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob know each other at camp, yet the very first episode of SpongeBob, Mr. Krabs doesn't even know who SpongeBob is. Does that mean Mr. Krabs also made an agreement with Sandy to go back and prevent Plankton from snatching the secret formula? Could be a possibility. Or Paramount could make their own SpongeBob special editions where they dub over Mr. Krabs, making him say to SpongeBob that he recognizes him from summer camp or something. And also with Squidward, apparently he's the camp counselor in Camp Coral, making him older than SpongeBob and Patrick, right? Yet in Sponge on the Run, in that little flashback of Camp Coral sequence, Squidward is the same age as SpongeBob and Patrick. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, does it? The thing is, at least you can thank God with the show that the same child voice actors who voice acted the young SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward in Sponge on the Run never voice acted them in Camp Coral, because this is what they sounded like in Sponge on the Run.
Wow! And don't ever stop playing this. My clarinet! Look at me! I really did it. Yay!
Yeah, guys, that totally sounds like Squidward, doesn't it? The biggest thing that pisses me off with Camp Coral is the fact that you can tell none of the people working on Camp Coral have actually even been to a summer camp once in their life. You know why? It's because there are literally 0 camp activities in the show. Looking at other terrible camp movies and TV shows, one thing they had in common, which is good, is that they all have camp activities, like, you know, crap that you'd actually do when you go to a summer camp. Where do you see any actual normal camp activities in Camp Coral? None. For a TV show that's solely reliant on taking place in a summer camp, it's not really a good sign. So yeah, Camp Coral gets a 0 out of 10, period. Now, let's go to season 15, also known as The Patrick Star Show. Guys, you all know that one expression that says, "Don't judge a book by its cover." You're probably familiar with that saying, right? Well, let's just say that expression is probably the stupidest crap I've ever heard. And anyone who agrees with that expression, "Don't judge a book by its cover," is a huge hypocrite, considering everyone who watches about 5 seconds of this first episode, switches off the TV, processes what just happened, then makes a conclusion that this show is terrible. And that's completely understandable. I have nothing against that. All of those reviews you see on YouTube about the Patrick Star Show, I bet all of the reviewers never even fully watched the first episode. They switched off the TV and quickly made the assumption that this show is the worst thing they've ever seen before, and they couldn't lose any more brain cells continuing to watch it. And again, I do not blame them. After losing so many brain cells watching SpongeBob Season 12 and Camp Coral, I couldn't take my chance watching this show. I really couldn't. GTG game fans are going to get pretty mad that I scored the show a 0 out of 10 without actually watching the show, but just, come on, look. Just come to your senses. Looking at this shot from Patrick Star Show, does this look like a normal kids cartoon to you, or does it look like Season 12 on more LSD? I'd go with the Season 12 option. And look, here's a fact. When this show was first announced, nobody was thinking that this show would look like this. What everyone was thinking about is this show that would display what Patrick does during his free time while SpongeBob's at work flipping Krabby Patties or something. They had an episode like this before, and it was actually very hilarious. It's showing what Patrick does while he's at his house alone. They also had another episode where it was solely based on Patrick, about Patrick trying to buy free ice cream for SpongeBob but didn't have enough money. Those 2 episodes I thought were actually very good. I don't know why Nickelodeon decided to abandon that idea when it comes to the Patrick Star Show. I mean, look, I have no idea why the Patrick Star Show takes place in this very weird world instead of normal Bikini Bottom. I don't know why Patrick has siblings who consist of squids. I don't know about that. Like I said, I'm not a SpongeBob theorizer guy. But knowing Nickelodeon, they probably want these SpongeBob theorizers on YouTube to promote their show by uploading videos like
100 Easter eggs found in Patrick Star Show. What I found was crazy.
and then it's going to display the red circle around some random painting in the background that could represent something in earlier seasons or something stupid like that. But I gotta say, Nickelodeon, none of these SpongeBob theorizers are going to fall for this because they don't want to waste any more brain cells, and so do I. So yeah, this show is getting a 0 out of 10. Okay, so now this begs the question, what is GTG Games' favorite season? Well, just looking at seasons 1 and 2, you can see that I both gave them a 10 out of 10. But if I had to pick one, I think it'd have to be season 1. Because season 1, I just feel like has the best atmosphere, the best vibe. It's not the most humorous season. I don't really laugh when I watch season 1 like what I mentioned earlier. But I just feel like it has the best animation, the best vibe. I mean, really, you can really just vibe with season 1. It's just such a good season. That's why I get really mad when people are like, yeah, well, you know, season 1 is just like an experimentation season and a test, so, you know, we probably shouldn't rank season 1. Like, no, like, shut up. This is not how this works. Like, season 1 counts as an actual season. It's the first season, actually. So yeah, it counts. I mean, honestly, I just love season 1. That would make Opposite Day my favorite episode too, since season 1 is my favorite season. So, yeah. I don't know exactly how to end this video. I'm really bad at this stuff, so I guess see you in the next one. Yeah. See ya. Keep Bikini Bottom Beautiful, a very hilarious episode. SpongeBob's Last Stand, a very creatively thought.